Season 49, War number 10, and the bans for this one are Domino, APOC, and Sunspot. And we are in Masters for this war, at the very bottom, but we're still there, which is very different for us. We're usually top of Plat 1, and we don't usually hit Masters too often. But my team is Red Guardian, Clairvoyant, and Emma Frost, and we've taken Path 4, then Path 6, and then for my minis, I'm using all Claire fights against the Gladiator, the Sersi, and the Atom on respectively 42, 44, and 46. So we're going to start on Path 4, obviously, against the CGR. I've taken this fight every single war this season, aside from 2, because he's always placed on Node 4. I've seen him split off onto Node 17, and for War 11 we're currently in, I've seen him split onto the Hazard Shift path for some reason, but it's a really easy matchup, as long as you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, this is a death sentence. And basically what you need to do is keep your buff immunity active whenever he throws a special attack at pretty much all times, because you either need to do one of two things, and that is never let him throw a heavy attack without buff immunity, or never let him throw a special attack without buff immunity. You have to worry about both of those, because if he does both, then you just kind of die. And obviously we don't want that, so we're going to make sure that he only throws a special attack with buff immunity active and heavy attack with buff immunity active if we can help it. That way we never reach 5 judgments and get degened. So as long as we don't get degened, we really don't lose a lot of health, and that was how that fight went. It was pretty easy and not super an inconvenience. So next up, we're going to be fighting Wong on Node 13. Bit of a diversity placement, but I actually do understand a bit why Wong is placed here, because if your parries fail, then he might be obliged to charge a heavy attack, and when Wong starts to charge his heavy attack, it's usually not good for you. So we are using Red Guardian here. I was just told to bring a champion that I felt I could counter the best with him, and I felt that was Red Guardian, because of the slow on his SP1, and the fact that Red Guardian just can hit hard once you go for the SP2 nuke. There I just missed a parry, and half my health is gone, so that's great. But it's going to get even worse when my heavy attack gets stand your grounded. Somehow, because apparently I was late. So I'm about to get hit again, and I'm down below 30% health. And he's still at 69% because of that stuff. So that was really bad. We throw my SP2, I do get the double crits, and now I can actually start doing a bunch of damage. I have my trauma active. His Eldritch Energy is about to max out, though. I do need to get rid of that right there. So luckily I did. I'm making sure I do throw my heavy attacks fast enough so that we don't have to deal with the resist again. And we're not getting some great crit RNG on those heavy attacks when we need it, but it's not a big deal because we get them down. So that was scary after getting hit like that and then getting my heavy attack resisted. Luckily it doesn't matter. So okay, next up is Hitmonkey on Node 24. I was one of the people who kind of planned this war, and when I knew I was taking Path 6, I kind of wrote in my notes section, the monkey cannot last more than 20 seconds. Take that as you will. But this is my only Emma fight, so I was definitely going to enjoy it, and we're going to go for this SP2 here, and we do not get the second hit to crit. So in fact, he lasts longer than 20 seconds. So that's cool. He did last longer than 20 seconds. Good on the monkey. I'm proud of him. Anyway, I need to shut up. Anyway, that was 23-second fight. Really easy for Emma. I wish I got more fights for her that war. Just couldn't fit them in the assignments, and they didn't place that many skill champs as far as minis wise. But we have this Kindred on Node 33, and I did notice that I had the Sacrifice the Sanctum crossfight placed on me, which is actually kind of a good thing, because it means I get to push Kindred to his SP1 faster, meaning I get to put the Infestation pause on myself faster. So that's not really a bad thing at all, and the Fury's gone, so basically it was just a helpful thing, which is kind of cool. Which is very rare, where the Sacrifice the Sanctum crossfight's actually useful for you. but here it was, so that was cool. We're going to go for my SP2 here. I'm going to get 0 crits because apparently crit RNG is a lie. But it doesn't matter because it pushes him to 2% without any crits, so that's cool. I just dex his heavy attack. He doesn't even have enough charges when he triggered his root to go into Outbreak, so I was just perfectly safe there. And that Kindred just got absolutely demolished. I wish I got to see a crit there, just to see what the numbers would have been, but it didn't matter in the slightest, so. Those are my 2 Red Guardian fights. No really big mystics for me to take as far as minis goes. About all the minis on the map were tactic ones, so didn't really get that big an opportunity, but that's okay. I guess I could have taken Sasquatch on 49, but we sent a Photon there, which was just better anyway, so. I did pause the fight there to check to see if I was recording, because I was paranoid that I wasn't, but it's all good. I'm going to throw Claire's SP2 here, get the buff immunity active, use that as a knockdown as well. This has, what's the node? One eye open, so I just never want to stun him, which is okay. There is a weird thing in this fight where, in hindsight, I'm not really sure if the Incinerate Curse was the correct play to use for this Gladiator. I could have maybe used Poison Curse and just kept spamming special attacks and kept him from throwing special attacks by power controlling him to death. But the reason I went for Incinerate Curse is 1, it's, bigger SP2s, and 2, I can freely block his SP2 because I am Incinerate immune, so I don't need to worry about taking the Incinerates on the block. Here I'm going to throw my SP3. I didn't have max Clairvoyance charges, so it's not going to do as much damage as it normally does, but we still bring them all the way down to 40%, so this is a fight that you will definitely take chip damage from, especially if you're playing it the method I am with the Incinerate Curse, which is another reason I'm wondering if I should be using the Poison Curse for this fight in the future, just because that means he's throwing less special attacks, so it might be worth it. Not really sure, but if I ever get the fight again, I will definitely talk with my officers about it and try to figure out from there which curse is better between the Incinerate one and the Poison one. So he's down to 4%. I'm going to need to go for a heavy attack. He just throws his SP1 to my block. That's annoying, but it's okay. It doesn't really matter because I'm going to kill him with this combo right there. So 2-minute fight, definitely not very fast, but Claire is just not that fast in general. It's just the fact that she has control and immunities to take so many of these matches. So it's definitely not a very hard fight, but I do take a lot of chip damage, and it's not that fast. That's the big summary of that 42 Gladiator fight. And it's largely the same against the Sersi on node 44, and especially so when I can only hit her half the time because of Hazard Shift. Last season, I was doing a stupid thing with Claire where on this node, I would be trying to cycle between Poison and Incinerate, when I really just is smarter if I only do one curse for the entire fight. And in this case, I want the Power Control Curse, just to keep spamming my special attacks more, and also so that I can keep Sersi locked down more with the buff immunity. I don't really need the extra damage when I'm just gonna lock the opponent down. I'll just take it slow and steady. And we throw the SP3, which I didn't really want to do, but it's not that big a deal. I am running 5 out of 5 MD in all my Claire fights, which could be a mistake, but at the same time, it's not that bad. It's not like it's messing with me too much. It's just making the fights a little bit more annoying when I skyrocket SP3, which isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes I want to skyrocket SP3, but in some of the fights that I'm taking today, I really don't, because I want that power control. Against a Serpent, skyrocketing to SP3 isn't necessarily a terrible thing, but against these defenders, it's not that fun. So we throw the SP2 here. I'm pretty sure I'm going red. I'm going red because she throws her special one, actually. But we're throwing another SP3 here. We get a lot more Clairvoyance charges for this one than the last one, so that is definitely nice. And we're going to bring her all the way down to 24, so she doesn't have that much health left. We're going to basically get to an SP2 as fast as possible, but then we have to deal with Hazard Shift. So here might have been a good time for me to cycle into my Incinerate Curse and then just nuke her down. But I am going to wait it out. In hindsight, definitely was an option to cycle into the Incinerate one, and it probably would have killed her. I'm like 90% sure it would have killed her. Doesn't matter, because I only get one Incinerate on myself, and that's just going to cost me like a 1 gold potion for my last fight, so it's not that big a deal. So, next up, we're going to be fighting an Adam Warlock on node 46, and I usually fight Adam Warlocks on node 47, but I genuinely think this is a better placement for him, because it's definitely harder for Claire. I don't know about, like, a lot of the other common mystics who take Adam Warlock, but this is definitely a harder one for Claire, just specifically because of Aspect of Evolution. Because it makes him more tanky the longer the fight goes. It also means I have to deal with this block penetration, and that is especially annoying when a lot of my Claire strategy is just to re-parry SP2 the entire time. But he throws his SP2 there, like, when I was holding block, and I'm lucky that I I wasn't too slow to react to it. I did accidentally trigger his sovereignty counter, because I guess I thought my buff immunity was active when I was doing that, but he broke my block, but luckily I had the indestructible boost. I was debating between indestructible and power start 1 for this fight, but I did think that with Aspect of Evolution being in play, it'd be better to tank some hits that very well could kill me with how much he's filling Aspect of Evolution. So that's what I opted to go for, and I do think it was the smart decision. But let's see, he's about to die. We're bringing him down to 30% now. Gonna start power controlling once more. His pod is coming, so he goes into it, and I just hold block. He does a weird block spam right there, but it's okay. He throws that right there. We're still doing fine. Gonna go for a re-parry. Block damage isn't as bad as I thought it would be. I'm pretty sure this SP2 does not kill, but we're very close. And one more combo. Okay, we get a medium crit and he's dead. So, there we go. 7 fights, 7 solos for me. Exactly how I like it. And that brings my solo rate above 95% again. We did end up losing this war quite badly. But in like our first 30 fights, we died like 5 times, and it just went downhill from there. Our alliance just played really rough for this one, so we eventually just kind of gave up and put up 39 deaths. And I guess our opponents realized that they had the war won too, so they didn't boost for a lot of the other ones. So true Masters performance right there. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.